Welcome back. Right Brain Forest, episode 14, I think. Maybe 13, 14, something like that. We'll sort that out. We'll sort that in post. I'll just maybe say 15 just in case. Yeah, Right Brain Forest, we're back. Been a little while again, but trying to get on the schedule. So, let's just get into it. Right here, as you can see, so I got a new background. I think that like this is pretty fucking peak. Like this is Chris Rock addressing the Pentagon. There's a lot of viral stuff saying that it's him addressing the Pentagon about the strait, which like I did a little research. I actually just saw this right before I started this episode. This is great. So I did a little research. To my understanding, he's actually talking to them about some type of celebration, like they're doing the 250-year America's been around anniversary. And so yeah, I guess they're planning some big show, and Kid Rock is obviously going to be a centerpiece because, clearly he's such a foundational, like seminal artist in our pop cultural fabric, woven into just basically every day, I mean, he's an icon, like obviously, like living legend. Kid Rock, the man himself. Um, yeah, so here he is addressing what looks to be like maybe some definitely just some military people, maybe like there's some people here in the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And this is in I mean, these people all have jobs. Like these people's jobs are to fight, I assume, terrorists and Iran or like whoever the fuck, and they're having to have to sit down, like, like when you get like a shitty meeting from your employer, you're just like, fuck, I don't want to have to do this. Like this is just like we could do this in Teams or whatever. This is the or just like attach it to an email. This is the equivalent of that times 100. Like I don't really think there's been something like I know I hate to say it, I hate to bring it always back to this, but just like imagine if like Obama had Beyonce in the Pentagon addressing the Joint Chief of Staff and a bunch of these top military officials to like talk about her performance at his inauguration or something like that, or like a Fourth of July parade. The hypocrisy that we're facing right now, it's reached a bound where if you don't just see it plain as day, and you're not just like, all right, I mean that's just, I mean, we've just lost the plot, most of this is just silly, then you kind of are just part of the cult. So I guess if you are part of that cult, I am right wing, so like, send me some money. We got to spread this message. But yeah, this is just a wild thing. So, I figured I'd just start with that. We'll just leave that up there. I think that makes, like, obviously this is a very important meeting. I think that Kid Rock's a very important dude, so we'll just keep that up there for the remainder of the episode because I like its vibe. So the come up for this week, there's a scammer that's used, and I already called this, right? I already called something similar. The one I said was like for puppies or whatever, but I mean, this one's as good or better. So the scammers used an AI generated MAGA girl to grift super dumb men. So this med student has made thousands of dollars selling photos and videos of a young conservative woman he created using generative tools. He's not alone. So this is a new grift. You can create these. I mean, like, obviously, like, I would say MAGA's getting smaller and smaller. Like, I mean, there's this huge amount of celebrity people that were, like, MAGA to MAGA adjacent. Definitely plenty of them that were straight MAGA. And now they're like, oh, whoa, this dude is doing all the complete opposite of everything that he said. He's putting a lot of other people first, so they've just kind of fallen off the wagon, and you have like people like Tucker Carlson and even sometimes Joe Rogan when he's not at the White House talking about how basically Trump's fallen off and kind of just like fucked everybody over. And so yeah, I think that the MAGA demo is getting smaller and smaller, and like definitely like bad bitches that are MAGA, like that's probably slim to none. And then in that micro niche demo of bad bitches that are MAGA that are also down to do porn and sell nudes, because we're talking like this hyper like right wing Christian fundamental Christian group basically. And so yeah, like I think that this is probably a very good grift. Like this, you generate these super hot baddies, like, you know, blonde, big titty, fucking big booty baddie that's got a MAGA hat on, and you just have her like in some Daisy Dukes, or like, you know, her like a wet T-shirt or something, in the middle of some field, and just like some fucking tractor or some shit, and that's obviously gonna sell. I mean, that's always been like a demo, but now that like most the porn star I mean, and you put a MAGA hat on her, you know, like, well, that's obviously crucial. It's just like she's wearing the MAGA hat. She's wearing the MAGA hat on the tractor. She's wearing the MAGA hat while she's washing a car or something like that. And these dudes are definitely very lonely and are definitely like becoming this marginalized demo that for sure, I mean, they're gonna have a hard time going to a place with bad bitches, like where there's just like a lot of bad bitches, and start just being like, yeah. So, anyways, like, I know Trump's been pretty controversial. Like, hold, let me buy you a drink. Would you like a drink? Yeah. Oh, sick. Oh, you're pretty cool. Like, I like your vibe. I like your piercings and your tattoos. Like, you're pretty bad. Like, but I am wondering how far left you do lean. You know, like I mean, I know Trump's been pretty controversial in the news lately, but have you considered his policy towards immigrants? Like, have you considered his policies towards terrorists? Right? I mean, like, are our borders not? And you just, there's no bad bitch that's going to be like, oh yeah, like, you do have a spare MAGA hat in your fucking bag. Oh, you do? Oh, sick. Like, let me take off my unique whatever, like, French beret type assortment or some shit, and just like put this fucking MAGA cap on, and then like I'm ready to slop you off in the parking lot. So seeing as how that's getting less and less, and these dudes are definitely, there is a huge incel demo, I would say that this is a brilliant grift. So again, I per legal counsel, I was told not to like tell people that they should do these things. So I'm not telling you should do it, but I am saying again that this is a come up that people are doing, and you know, who's to say? You, I guess, can too. I mean, Reddit's kind of a free for fucking all. You know, just be like, oh, I'm too shy to have an OnlyFans, but I'll sell you my nudes. Oh, you know, and they don't even notice that it's like only 80% of the same chick every time. They're like, did she have blue eyes before? Like, I don't care, dude. Like, as long as I see those fucking knockers with a MAGA hat above them. So that's a good come up. Check that out. For the fuck this week, so okay, we're gonna try to do some video. We're gonna have a video this time. I'm gonna try it. I kind of prepped it, so we'll see how this goes. But so for the fuck this week, I have this video where hold on, let's see. I'll make this a little bigger. Okay, cool. Okay, so I have this video here with Trump talking to a reporter, and she's asking some questions about like the state of the Iranian people. So let's see. Hold on. Let's cut to this. All right. Let's play it.
Not been able to see or hear from any of the Iranian people. And I imagine that is because their internet is shut down. And I think there is some general worry about them. Obviously, their government treats them terribly and killed tens of thousands of them in January. Do you, again, I like Kayla, I would never ask you to tell us something that is classified, but do you have any insight as to how they are doing? Do they have drinking water? Do they have food?
Right, I do.
It's upsetting.
I do. But first, you remember when we had lunch years ago in the base of Trump Tower when it was a brand new building?
It's a long time ago, yes.
A long time ago, and you haven't changed.
Oh.
You have
uncomfortable.
Now, I'm not allowed to say this. It's the end of my political career, but you may be even better
but I'm
looking.
Going to.
Okay? So I don't know what you're doing. But I will not say that.
Has a lot
I will
to do
not
with
say that because that will end my political career. You know, you're not allowed to say a woman's beautiful anymore. You know that, Jesse. You got to be careful.
False.
Jesse's
all right, let's see if we can get this back. Sick. Okay, so yeah. What the fuck? The fuck is that? I mean, what even that this is I'm kind of at a loss for words with that clip. So obviously we have this like Fox round news table, and these people are supposed to be newscasters, which at this point they've just given up on that. So they've just kind of accepted that they're just talking heads solely solely put together to just gratify this whole new whatever, like, social movement that's kind of brewing in America. And this Fox right wing propaganda arm is definitely, like, really crucial. And so you have all these people here, and, like, these people are having to sit while she asks a very serious and important question in the time, which is, we have no access to the Iranians. Like, can we get some insight onto their living conditions? Are they safe? Do they have drinking water? How's their shelter? Mind you, this was a little bit before Trump threatened to just blow up all of their desalination facilities, and also their, like, civilian infrastructure for electricity and all that. So and then he just cuts to, remember the time that you were so beautiful in my Trump Tower? Remember blowing me? Do you remember it? Like, it's mind numbing. And even the Fox host there, like, she's clearly uncomfortable by it. She's like, yeah, it was a long time ago. Like, I do remember having to do that to fucking, maybe it was fun for her then. I don't fucking know. But, like, had to sit at the, at whatever this fucking meeting is, with Trump just being like, you're so beautiful. Like, some are saying I wouldn't say it, but some are saying you're the most beautiful news host I've ever seen. I wouldn't say it. I know you can't say it. Nobody's ever been able to say it, but now I will say it. You're beautiful, and even more beautiful. And I just don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, the plot for the Iranian war has become so convoluted. It's like, you could just literally, like, I use Reddit to get the news for this and other news articles, and the news cycle within one day is Iran war beat, then we need help from other people, then we don't need the other people, then we won the war, then the strait's closed, and then if they don't open it, well, then we're going to bomb them back to the Stone Age. And then, meanwhile, we're bombing them to the Stone Age currently. So, like, we're blowing up their hospitals, we're blowing up bridges, we're, like, definitely attacking civilian infrastructure. And then we get this ceasefire, which is for 2 weeks now. It's indefinite amount of time, but also the president, according to Fox, they keep being able to say that he can just launch his strikes at any time. So this is he doesn't need to make a deal. So first they're going to make a deal. Now he doesn't need a deal. Now they're the ones that need a deal. Strait of Hormuz is still closed, or it's open. I'm not sure. I think they took some money from some boats. So then Trump started being like, we're just going to block any Iranian boats. And so that's, like, their economic lifeboat. So one way or another, it's waging war on them. So before them having guaranteed maritime, like, passage, and I mean, this kind of brings me to one of my next points anyways. I mean, I'll just go into who's winning. I mean, Iran is winning in this conflict. Like, whether or not, obviously, like, they're, I don't know, like they're not, I mean, they're getting bombed to shit, and they're not really engaging in direct hostilities. But that's obviously just in their favor. I think people thought that they might have this uprising, that there was these civilian demonstrations in the streets, and they were trying to hopefully overthrow the regime, and they had hundreds of thousands of people out in the streets, and then supposedly the Iranians just started opening fire and killed tens of thousands of them potentially, and there's mixed numbers on these things. But now we found that the CIA was arming these Kurdish militants and fostering some sort of, like, coup type rebellion with armed individuals. And so, not to say that I have no idea what was obviously going on the ground in Iran, but we do know proof that the CIA was giving these militia groups weapons now. And so, needless to say, I would say, like, the regime is even more firmly entrenched. I think that now, for a lot of people that were maybe on the middle of the fence, like, oh, maybe I want Ayatollah dead and this and that, but I also want stability in my country. So they're kind of in the middle. But then, the Ayatollah gets killed in, like, a kind of gruesome and disingenuous way that I believe is on one of their holidays. So there's just a kind of level of disrespect there. You also can have the Iranian government, like the IRGC, basically able to say, I mean, I would guess that they're probably hitting the propaganda pretty heavy, that if there was any fire opened on civilians, it was some type of ploy orchestrated by the CIA, that the CIA had armed civilians and militants with the desire to shoot or start conflict in the protest zones, that then gave them, if obviously fire starts being opened up on the military or the IRGC in wherever way that they're, I guess, making sure that the protests don't get out of hand, makes sense that then they start getting shot back at. And I'm not saying, again, that this is what happened, but what I can say is that I think that this gives them a pretty firm platform when we're blowing up their hospitals and we're blowing up girls' schools because of outdated mapping data that you can find on Google Maps. And so I think that they're more firmly entrenched. I think, we have them doing these kind of these propaganda videos, which actually I'm gonna bring on one up right here. Hold on, so I'm gonna show this. Boom, share. Oh, we gotta bring me up. Okay.
They listen to our songs instead, since your media is full of shit. Let's keep it 100 and talk reality. 5,000 years of Persian soul, of poetry and light. You sold nuclear threat to every camera in sight, but our leader said nukes are haram on record clear. The real atomic arsenal, Tel Aviv, my dear. The IAEA in the building, they've been watching the file. Israel's undeclared war has stacked up mile by mile. You weaponize the fear of Iran to fund the machine. While APAC lobbied Congress and pocketed your team. While soldiers bleed for Biggie's dream. Your son-in-law cashed $2 billion from the Saudi regime, Kushner. Your lobby chain is tight as choking out the globe, while your son is trading stocks inside his velvet robe. Baron, wake up, America, open your eyes to the devil's design. Epstein, pedophile ruler.
So yeah, I mean, I think at the very least you can see that they have I don't know anything about it, really. At the end of the day, I know a lot of what people said. I mean, they said that there's just
feed the swine. Epstein's Island, 40 plus flights on the log. You the main character, Jeffrey was just the prologue. You act like a savior, but you're leaving bodies cold. How many nations have you broken? How many lives have you sold? Vietnam, Japan, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Panama, Syria, Germany, Serbia, Indonesia, Cuba, Sudan, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen. We're bringing you freedom, bro. They never asked for that. Retribution is coming, where the storm you can't tame. Iran doesn't forget, and we're coming for the game. Spoiler alert. Israel's final war? It's against y'all. Take it seriously. Before it's too late. They're just using you for now. I want to see the real truth. Watch how they talk on Jesus. Don't say I didn't warn you.
I kind of CIA of equivalent arm is they clearly know the types of music we like the style, how to hit the things that are trending right now. Obviously, that this is a distraction from Epstein. That they didn't want nukes, and that Israel has this nuclear arsenal, et cetera, et cetera. And so I just think, between their ability to clearly and accurately, because we're not getting any propaganda in there. You know what I mean? We're not we blew that. Whatever chance that we had to I think sway them away from this being, or them getting out of the IRGC's grip, I think it's just become much more firmly entrenched. I think that they kind of have the finger on the pulse for our population, for at the very least just making something that's palatable for the young generation, the younger people who are starting to get out and vote. I think maybe they don't want to read about the fucking what Iran's like or other things like that. They have these news filtered, but then they have these trendy videos that are just it's coded in them to fucking watch this brain rot shit. So they're brain rotted up with that. And yeah, I think that, I don't know, they got their finger on the pulse there, and which is new. And then lastly, a lot of what was going on in the Strait was a hypothetical, right? It's a hypothetical that Iran could close the Strait, which is why they have been around for so long. If they had been Syria, none of us know anything about Syria. We just knew there's this guy there named Assad. We don't like him, so we just have been sending for the last decade fucking B-52s to just bomb fucking everything, and also arming militant groups that want to overthrow this vicious, brutal dictator. And because it doesn't affect oil prices in America, it doesn't affect global trade and jet fuel and the ability, just everything. Nobody gave a fuck. At the end of the day, most Americans probably couldn't even find Syria on a map. Probably didn't even know who Assad is. maybe heard the name in the news, but at the end of the day, probably don't really know what war crimes the dude's guilty of, or if or why, you know, we're doing this. And it was something that was kind of just like unilaterally, like the Russians were fucking bombing the Syrians. So that was like some joint shit that we were doing with those guys. And so yeah, I think that if Iran was just in the middle of some place that didn't have some serious geopolitical like ramifications for their ability to just use some drones, like a few drones and some guys and some sleeper teams that are, you know, like a $30,000 drone with a fucking missile on it that they're just hiding in all these cave networks along the strait, that they could just launch it at these boats and fucking cripple a multi-billion-dollar oil tanker. And honestly, the biggest reason too, here's the bigger thing, is that the insurance companies are refusing to insure the tankers. So, you know, you have Trump saying we could more or less escort people or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, they could blow up. And so I'm sure if the fucking the boats just mass went and we had, you know, tankers fucking or military vessels trying to block the missiles and shit like that, we could probably get like most of them through. But the problem is that even if one blows up and it's just not insured right there now, so the company's out billions of dollars and they don't want to fucking do that. And so yeah, it's just kind of like a catch-22. I'm not really sure what's really going on, but what I can say is that I think Iran has just become more firmly entrenched with their leadership. I think that they're more on the global stage in a way that's giving Americans like some type of sympathy for them, or some type of you know, at least like prone to their, I mean, people are reposting these videos, you know, these are getting millions of views. So they got their propaganda hitting us pretty heavy. Which is not like there was like, you know, like I'm sure the Nazis were trying to send propaganda to America, but it wasn't like they could have viral fucking reels of being like, actually, the Nazism was pretty good. Like, do you say we cleaned up all of our streets? Do you say we have all of this industry? Do you say we have, like, you know, there's not a lot of black people? And like, I mean, who's to really say that is that bad? I mean, like, have you thought about it? So like, I mean, they're doing like trendy songs. They're like, we do so much better now that we have no Jews. Like there's no none of that. So that's an interesting development. I think that might be the first time that fucking an adversary has probably been able to like get mass propaganda back into like the general public of America through fucking, and you know, they try to have these videos banned and stuff like that. So, and the, you know, freedom of speech and all that, it's pretty interesting. And yeah, they've proven to the world that they can in fact close the strait when they want with some drones and some boats. So I think that they're in a lot better position than they were fucking, you know, a year ago to negotiate. So we'll see. Okay, so for Run Amok, this fucking betting shit, dude. Like, I mean, on one hand, don't get me wrong, Polymarket or whoever, these, I mean, this one was from Polymarket, but whoever these Kalshi sponsor me, I'm trying to get this bread. Like, I'll take that gambling bread. But in this context, I mean, the level of things that are being gambled on right now, like this has run amok. So I don't really understand these things, right? I get like who's going to be the next president, or like, I guess maybe what are the chances that like somebody in the fucking Super Bowl like gets hurt or something like that. Like I don't really know what all these things are that are outside of the normal framework of betting, but I can get some of them. But so there's apparently a running bet that is about, so there's an open source like thermometer inside the Paris airport, the Paris International Airport, and obviously there's different temperatures outside, and so that there's a running bet on whether or not weather fluctuations will affect like the inside of the airport. And so like outside of a certain like temperature range, based on what temperature it is outside, you can win money betting on whether or not the Paris airport will stay warmed or cooled, I guess, you know, just like, Parlez-vous, I would not want to have my airport. I want my airport always within a 5 Celsius range. Or it's probably big. So like I don't even know. Like no more than 1 Celsius range for all of the France airports. Or we will have you beat over the head with new baguettes. I don't really know what the French do when they're mad at somebody. So I guess that's a thing, and you can fucking bet on that. And this guy, he made $34,000 by betting that it would like swing way out of the range, and then I guess broke into the where the sensor is like in a public area. I don't even know if he broke into it. I think he just maybe just walked up to it and like, or climbed over it, and had I guess a hair dryer with a portable battery. And so they said that he hit the sensor alone and it spiked it, which then caused this fucking payout. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is in Europe, so like maybe just went to some crazy like fucking hacker crypto account or something like that, and the French or whoever just like hopped on the plane and bounced, and it was like a pretty good little hack and scam. But this is getting to wild levels of statistic betting that are betting on things obviously this wide of a fucking range, like this oddly specific and out there as much as a temperature fluctuation in an airport. Ranging to like geopolitical issues, to like whether or not an interview is going to go for a long time, like past a certain amount of time on the White House's addresses, just things like that. And so this is obviously very, very prone to rigging. I mean, they just found this soldier who made like $400,000 or something like that by betting $30,000 or something right before he went to go capture Maduro. So like this fucking guy is sitting there with the fucking like I mean, because I mean, imagine like you're part of SEAL Team 6 or whoever the fuck, like you're just always on go, like you're ready to go basically anywhere in the world at any time, kitted the fuck up. And so he's sitting there, and then they're pulling him into a room because obviously it's like top secret, so they're like, get in here, we have a fucking briefing for you. And they're like, you're going to go, here's all these things. We're going to have these we're going into Venezuela. We're getting Maduro. We're scooping him up in the next like 18 hours, like flat. Here's all the fucking tech, blah, blah, blah. We're going to use these drone things. You're just like, whoa, like I just saw this on the fucking thing and I got $34,000 in a crypto account. And like while the dude's doing the briefing, this soldier is just like, I bet $34K that he's going to be out by the next, I'm going to say 24 hours. And then proceeds to go and capture this guy. So he won like $400K, and he transferred it into some crypto accounts and was probably just like, yeah, fucking eating. But then the DOJ apparently found out and is now prosecuting him, which is honestly pretty surprising to me. Like where this administration has been moving, I'm surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets pardoned, or just like this kind of just gets like kicked and shooed to the side. Like they don't really like actually go forward. I'm not really sure, but supposedly he's being prosecuted for, utilizing this insider information. So this is the level to which these fucking things can be skewed now, right? It's like remember back in the day, like you used to see a thing that was like some mafioso would approach somebody that's kind of like down bad, like some NFL player, and this is the first time that they got to the fucking the Super Bowl, and like this dude's down bad for gambling, and the mafia guy comes up and he's like, listen, Manny, I'm gonna tell you something, we do have your wife and kids like being monitored currently, and we will be taking our payment in full. Oh, you don't have our $100,000? Well, I mean, it's fortunate for you and your child's life in that you're about to play in the Super Bowl, and you're going to fuck this up. Do you understand? So like this used to be like kind of like the level of it, you know what I mean? You had to be, and I think that there's actually like some real Super Bowl shit that went down like that. Like I think that there's like some documented cases of the mafia like actually being able to threaten somebody's life or like pull some strings like this or like whatever, where they were able to do this insider kind of betting on this huge sort of event. But even then, I mean, it's like a 50-50 odd, you know what I mean? It's like going one way or the other either way. And so these things are like calculated statistical odds on like some algorithmic whatever that I don't fucking know, man. This just can have every variety, and they can be affected as simply as a dude who's about to actually go arrest the president of a foreign nation, and he can fucking hedge a bet right in that moment before he goes and physically grabs him himself. So that to me is run amok. But at the same time, Kalshi, Poly Market or whatever, run me a check, and we'll change the tune really quick. like I said, it's we're looking for sponsors right now. Okay, so no surprise, I have that fucking just Pete Hegseth can't do shit again. I mean, I think it's just that the Iran war just was. I don't even know what it is. I mean, it is over. It's not over. We're in a ceasefire. Israel's still blowing up Lebanon, and meanwhile, you have the fucking Secretary of State, like, who supposedly spent $200 million on steak and lobster for our troops, giving, like, if you've seen these photos, I should have saved some of them, but there's photos of these fucking meals that they're giving the sailors. It's like literally like a piece of fucking spam, like one slice of spam, or like some boiled carrots and like just a hamburger patty, because these carrier groups have been out on extended deployment for like a really long time, and also I guess a lot of the Navy gets. I mean, the Postal Service delivers to active duty Navy sailors, and so they deliver them, like, obviously people send their loved ones candies and deodorants and coffee and all the creature comforts, and the Postal Service has suspended all of that because they're just like, yeah, we don't know where these guys are. Like, they're in the middle of an active combat zone. They are, it's like top secret, their location. So and also we're just being bombed to shit. Also to the Iran thing, I saw that there's apparently the missiles have caused like billions of dollars more damage to the U.S. bases than was originally projected. So, yeah, they're in an active combat zone where they're being fucking shot by like 17 missiles at a time, and so we can't give them goods and stuff, and so they're just eating like table scraps. And yeah, I guess just no surprise that the dude who was doing there's this fucking shooter at this news, I mean, everybody knows what's going on, this fucking White House news correspondent dinner. And let's see here, let's go like Pete Hegseth, let's go to Pete Hegseth and see how he was handling this situation. Look at that lockjaw, look at that coke jaw. I just love this. Anyways, no surprise that this dude's fucking this shit up. And if it didn't show it, well, sorry. We tried. We got the other ones to show though. What do we have next here? Okay, so who's boo-hooing Kash Patel? Kash Patel is suing the Atlantic. The Atlantic put this report out that said that he just gets drunk on the job. They can't find him. Yeah, that like he got locked out of his own desktop because he forgot his password, and he thought that the White House had fired him, so he started freaking out. And I guess he was like unreachable. They had to break the door down. His security team has tried to find him multiple times, and they have like 13 or 14. They had like 14 sources that they said were saying that they were afraid for national security purposes, that they genuinely felt that the country was less safe because of his behavior. I mean, this is the guy who flew out on the FBI fucking jet, which, I mean, I guess he has to, but flew out on the FBI jet to party with the Olympic hockey team and get hammered in the locker room. And so, I mean, the dude's like crushing beer cans on his head. So he's apparently been drinking on the job a lot. He's been unreachable, and so now he's suing the Atlantic, which is interesting because he could have just let this go. He could have just kind of been like, oh yeah, it's fake. This is a fake report. I don't know. This is what the media does. But instead he sued them, which then makes, one, it gets a lot more big. It's like when you talk about something, it gets a lot bigger. So now it's become this much more larger national news story. Like even Fox was talking about how our boy fucked up. He told everybody that he sued them, and now you have daytime cable telling people about this story. And so yeah, he is suing them, and now they're obviously gonna fight it, and they have, I guess, another like 14 or 15 more people that have come out. So now they're like 20 or 30 people plus that have all said that this is actually his behavior. And so I don't really know what, like, I mean, this dude is, I mean, I would assume actually this is gonna go the same as the Jerome Powell thing. Like, this is gonna go only so far, and then it's just gonna be quietly dropped. It's gonna be the same thing as the I don't know, former James Comey and Tisha or whatever the other chick's name is, that they just like faked that they were, they arrested them. They kind of faked prosecution, and then it just really quickly like got stymied because they just didn't actually do anything the right way, and it just kind of quietly gets dropped. But you have Trump supporters able to be like, yeah, he got him. And so I assume this is going to go that way. Like they're probably just going to get so far, and then Cash will probably just silently drop the fucking lawsuit and then hope that it's just on to the next thing. And I mean, the dude seemed like he's probably just getting wasted. So he's probably just thinking like, my time here at the White House is pretty short, or not the White House, but at the FBI. I mean, this dude is not a very serious. Nobody in this administration is a very serious person. The guy was getting hammered drunk while Nancy Guthrie's grandma was being kidnapped, and I would assume that she wasn't wherever the fucking Canadian or the U.S. hockey team is. So he's boohooing. He's boohooing hard. Trash move I have for this week is Trump posts himself as Jesus and then attacks the Pope. Interesting. It's a pretty trash move. And you have just the Pope being like, what are you talking about? This is not for God. You blew it. Pooh Shiesty blew it. So Pooh Shiesty was robbing Gucci Man. No, sorry. Okay. So yeah, we have Pooh Shiesty, who's been in jail for, this dude comes out, he's got like a fire single, some music. I think he gets signed by Gucci Man. Dude's coming up, fucking has like a sneaker deal that goes wrong, and they blast the car, and which that's like the sneaker deal is like a bunch of supercars in Miami in some alleyway. And he's buying some Yeezys or something, or some fucking LeBrons, I don't know. But then something goes down with it, and they start shooting. He like shoots into into an open car, like a moving car, which is a whole nother crime. The dude has been serving, I don't even know, man, for like the last fucking 5-10 years or whatever it is in jail for this. And whole time, we get occasional updates from Shiesty in prison. We get the, like, I'm still out here. I'm still his number one dog, like blah, 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 blah. And then he gets out, and the first thing that he does with his friends is they go to a meeting with Gucci Man, who I guess has his record contract, and they pull out a bunch of Dracos, and they say, sign on the dotted line and give me all the rights to my fucking music, basically, and let me out of the contract and whatever. And then his friends then proceed to rob the rest of Gucci Man's entourage of Rolexes and chains and stuff. And then they go back to Memphis, and then they fucking flex it there. So this dude is not a very smart guy, or he has a gay lover in prison, and he just didn't want to, like, he just like, man, like, I really got to get back to my boy. And the only way I could see this being viable is like, I just do some crazy shit. And like, really, like, I don't really know what I could do that's gonna be maybe he thought too he could benefit out of it. He's like, maybe I'll be locked up, but at least we'll have the rights to my music, baby, and so maybe he thought he could still benefit from it. But I believe that probably contract will be void, because I think it's probably very easy to say that he was under duress. I believe if you take a gun to somebody's head and you say sign here, and then that's just easily like provable, I believe that the law makes that contract not real anymore. So Gucci Man, I think, probably still legally owns all of his music. The dude is definitely going back to his prison for what I assume is probably for like 20 to life. His crew is probably getting locked up as well too, which, I mean, maybe that's the thing. Maybe the vibe is gay orgy. Like, I'm not really sure. Maybe they're just on some real fucking thug shit. Maybe there's really like we keep it a buck at all times, and in keeping it a buck, I'm not gonna be no punk bitch and let this fool keep my masters. And so who's trying to roll with me? And obviously all his boys were like, that's cool, I'm down to go. Like, oh shit, I get a free rollie out of the fucking deal, like, steal. So he blew that shit pretty hard. Okay, for Stranger Than Fiction this week, we have this Trump shooter situation. A lot of people are saying that he staged this. I mean, I personally am one that, like, I believe that, like, false flag operations exist. I believe in staging of things and whatever. But I mean, I think like most Americans would probably agree that something's fishy about 9/11. You know, maybe not that the U.S. government like orchestrated it or anything, or it's just this giant like grift to get insurance money for some of the world's richest people. But ranging to just like maybe the U.S. isn't telling us everything. You know, maybe the government lied about some things. But I think most people look at 9/11 and just go like, that's a little fishy. Like the story's a little off. And I think like, you know, with this Epstein shit, you know, maybe some people say like Trump is, you know, a pedophile that's fucking been documented and being blackmailed by Israel to engage in this war, to people being like, well, it definitely has got the lots of very rich and powerful people's names on there. And they definitely did some very bad things. And we would love to see it come to light, but there's some type of conspiracy or at the very least like gross negligence that is just being you know, put into effect to make it so these people don't have to come to justice, or you know, they don't have to have justice or public scrutiny served to them. And so I think, you know, most Americans can agree that there's something fucking fishy there. But so this Trump shooter situation, I mean, I do find it pretty crazy because so the White House Correspondents' Dinner, people would be, and I mean, to be fair, he did write a manifesto. I mean, maybe just no matter what, he knew that there's going to be a lot of like key political figures there. You know, like let's play devil's advocate for the sake of this. So he must have bought this hotel room months ago. So the shooter came down from his own room at the hotel. I assume that this is a probably very like busy time for this hotel that has got all these reporters and all these key political figures and all of their support staff and people. So I think probably like a lot of people, you know, that have corporate type money are staying at this hotel. So I assume it's probably very expensive. And he must have booked this months and months in advance, which Trump has never gone to this White House or this Correspondents' Dinner. So apparently in all of the years of his presidency, he's never attended. This year he decided to. You know, he's going to, whatever, I guess, spend some time with the free press. And so that's pretty weird. You know, it's pretty interesting. Then there's, you know, the Caroline Leavitt saying, you know, tonight shots will be fired, which is like, I mean, understandable. He's addressing the media, which they say attacks him and demonizes him or whatever. So it makes sense that you would have a little like, you know, a little shade thrown and a little just like kind of trendy way to say it. But what I do find interesting is that there is a legal hold on Trump's ability to build this ballroom. So then the judge said that unless there's like a really important proceeding, legal, like national security issue or something otherwise, then it's just illegal for him to build this. And so this shooting goes down and they just jump instantly. Like from the second that the dude was taken down, Trump's posting him on the ground and saying, this is why we need the ballroom. I mean, if it's not a false flag operation, this was a very convenient thing for them. Like, it's a very convenient timing. Like, nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Everybody got out. I mean, there's some moments where you can have it spun where, like, you know, Trump's saying that he was looking heroic, saying, you know, he thought maybe it was some splattered dishes or what. I mean, he did fall. I believe he kind of ate shit while they were running out of there. And I mean, the dude, you know, one could say that he has trauma, whether or not you believe about the other shooting or whatever being real. But I mean, like, the dude maybe did almost get his head blown off. So like you could see there being trauma from that. And so they have just jumped full on into saying we need this thing for national security. Like, if we had the ballroom, this never would have happened. You know, et cetera, et cetera. And it just is very convenient timing for them. And something that's probably also inconvenient for the story is that the dude who did do the shooting, he had I believe it was maybe his profile picture, or it was a picture on his profile though, where he's wearing an IDF sweater, which has now since been deleted. So one does wonder who has access to this guy's social media profile in a way in which they could go and like delete this IDF photo. I mean, the IDF's crazy hackers too. So I mean, maybe, you know, again, playing devil's advocate, maybe like, yo, we're gonna catch the blame for this. Like, hack this full shit, delete that shit. You know, who's really to say? I mean, it's up to you to kind of decide how you feel about this. But this was very convenient for this administration. And I believe that the whole thing, like, this shooter with a manifesto, planning months in advance to get this hotel fucking room booked and planning to go there and opening fire in the lobby instead of like, actually at the very least, like, I don't know how close you could get to the ballroom, like, I don't know how like close Secret Service is, but he didn't even make an attempt really, it seemed like he just kind of was like, and like shot in the lobby, and then they just tackled him and took his ass. I mean, they didn't even kill him too. So I mean, that's another thing is like, if this is a plant, how much money would it take for if the move was just like you just take all the money you'll ever need for the rest of your life for your family, and you do 20 years for what could arguably be said as just it's gonna they start out as it's an assassination attempt on the president, but then he's like, my manifesto, I really was just trying to scare the reporters, I was just trying to actually just shoot a gun inside a fucking lobby. And so I guess we'll see what he actually does time for and how that shakes out. But I mean, this one I believe would be a lot easier false flag to orchestrate than like the one where Trump's ear got shot and then somebody died, because just an innocent person got shot and killed in that. So, I mean, that one is like some very like a lot of like moral juxtaposition, I would assume, to like various people that would have to be involved with that level of conspiracy. And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know about either of these things. But what I can say is that this one would have been significantly easier to coordinate, and there's significantly less punishment that's going to be given to this guy, I believe, and we'll see. And so, weird stuff with him in the IDF T-shirt that is then, which is the Israeli Defense Force, if you don't know, that was then removed from his Instagram account. For what's perf this week, we have this American millionaire who's a big game hunter. So he died after being crushed by a group of elephants during a hunting expedition in Gabon in Africa, I believe. This is fucking perfect. So this particular time, he wasn't hunting elephants. He wasn't hunting like big, like cheetahs or whatever, or lions. But he was hunting some gazelles, and he was hunting some type of caribou or some shit, and then they got into the wrong area, and there was like a female elephant with their calves. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude was just like, well, like, I mean, can I take like the forbidden fruit must be tasted, like, can I take a shot? Like, they're coming right at me. And then he shot one, and then they started coming right at him and trampled him to death. And at first I read the story and I was like, oh, whoa, big game hunter goes out to kill elephants, gets killed by elephants. Like, that's fucking perf. But then I saw that he was out to hunt the caribou or whatever, which I'm not really, I believe that probably like, whatever resources are in Africa and this and that, they got food scarcity. So I don't know about Americans just going out there and shooting these animals for sport when we have like plenty of things that you can get tags for in America. But, he did have a pass. Like, this dude is like an old dude. He's like 75 or something like that, which, I mean, props to him for still getting out there. But I mean, obviously this dude lived through like the fucking 60s and 70s and 80s and shit. So like, this dude definitely was using his money to go. They I guess he had a bunch of past expeditions where he killed lions. He has a bunch of them like stuffed and mounted in his house, and elephants and giraffes and all this other shit. So the dude is definitely just a fucking killer, like a killer of exotic beasts. Was on his fucking like oh my god, Perfect Gentleman, or what I don't remember that movie with Sean Connery is. Something Gentleman, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen type shit, out in the fucking the Sahara, just capping whatever anytime he probably got a little vacation money, and just like, yes, like I love the thrill of killing a fucking lion, protecting its cubs. So I think it's fucking perf that he got trampled to death by these elephants. I think if you live by the hunt, then sometimes it's perfect if you die by the hunt, which is kind of the way how things go. Okay, so for straight out science fiction, we have this. So there's a new chip that like MIT or somebody invented, that it can go. It's like a little tiny thing. It's like the size of a pin, and it has a great battery efficiency, and it can go inside your pacemaker. We'll just use that. So it goes inside medical devices. But for example, like the pacemaker, and it prevents it through a certain level of like new encryption because from being hacked. So apparently now with quantum computing and what they presume is the evolution of quantum computing and quantum hacks is that they can potentially hack people's pacemakers. Which, like, imagine you get that fucking call. Honestly, either side of the spectrum, even if they can or can't, you know what I mean? Like, they find some way, like, you know, they find some database or some way to figure out who has pacemakers, and you have our seniors getting these calls. They're just like, "Hello, my bro, I have something very important to tell you," and you're like, "No, I don't want to buy any fucking insurance." And he's like, "No, my bro, this is not for that. What I'm calling you to tell you is that I have your pacemaker on lock. If you hang up the phone, if you tell anybody, if you even make a noise other than what I tell you, I will make your heart stop faster than you can say Aladdin's prince shoes, Aladdin's magic carpet ride. So here's what you're going to do, my friend. You're going to buy some, and you're just like, oh my God, like I said, do not be talking. You're going to buy some Bitcoin and you're going to wire it directly to my account. Do you know how to do this? Do you have the Bitcoin wallet? Okay, here is my number. You know, and like, even if this like can't happen, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if they don't actually have the hack for it, once the first time somebody hears, like, you know, hacker just takes fucking dude's heart out because he didn't pay ransom money, that opens the door, and that just opens the door for the, you know what I mean, like the stress that you'll be put in. You can't even turn, like, Dad, are you okay? He's like, do not tell her. What you would tell her is that you're talking to your new best friend. It's like, oh, I'm just talking to the guy I met at work, honey. And so, yeah, so this new tech, it encrypts it like internally in some new way that would make it's like a quantum chip, and so that would make it so it can't be hacked externally. So this is the fucking sci-fi future that you have to look forward to. You have, you know, robots taking your jobs, and maybe if you're on life-saving equipment, you know, like maybe your daughter, you know, somebody in your family's on critical life support, and you just get the call, just like, hello, my bro, I have something very important to tell you. You know, you're like, oh shit, like fucking, and I feel like, you know, most of us aren't Liam Neeson. You know, most of us can't be like, you know, I'm going to find you. You know, like you kill my wife right now, I'm going to find you. Most of us probably going to be like, oh, I need to wire this dude some fucking Bitcoin. So that's straight out of sci-fi. Also, your next car purchase, if it's in the next, I guess, year, I think it's 2027, this is starting. So the federal government, and mind you, this is this administration, so this is the same group that's like the little government guys. So your next car purchase, the federal government is requiring that they're mandated with a federal mandate requiring surveillance technology that monitors your every blink, glance, and head nod. What this would actually amount to, so the infrared cameras and sensors create a constant biometric assessment of driver alertness and sobriety. The tech involves infrared cameras mounted on steering columns, tracking eye movement, pupil dilation, and drowsiness patterns. These systems operate passively, so no blowing required. Your car simply watches and decides whether you're fit to drive. If the AI determines you're impaired or showing fatigue, so you can't even be fucking sleepy in the car right now, right? Like, this is going to get people murdered. You understand? So it says that it can prevent ignition startup or limit vehicle speed. So imagine you're driving and you're a little sleepy. It's like, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I've driven a little sleepy plenty of times. You know, never had an incident. You know, if I've gotten like so tired that I need a nap, I pull over somewhere safe and I fucking nap. So imagine it registers you being a little sleepy, and there's like nothing you can do about this shit. And so all of a sudden it just slows the car down, and you're like in the middle of the freeway, you know what I mean, going like 80 or 90 or something like that. And now you're in the left-hand lane, and you're going 20 or 30 in the middle of the night or day, and somebody just fucking rear ends you. Or God forbid you have, I mean, half of our population is women, you know, and you have one of them and be one of these cars that like won't start after she's, you know what I mean, she's leaving the bar and it's closed. Maybe she had one beer or something like that, you know, is fine to drive, and it reads it as it's being a little and it just locks the car and it won't start. And now you have our wives and daughters and sisters and moms potentially just stranded in the middle of some parking lot at 4 or 5 a.m. or 2 or 3, whatever time, you know, have you, based on some AI algorithm. And people are like, outside of the fact that this is highly fucking inconvenient and it's going to make people like the new car market definitely just stifle, and people, you know, resale values on older cars are going to go up, because who the fuck would want this? Like, this is on some absolute, like, it's like, this is like when the police ask you, are you okay with us searching the car? Like, you're a straight up dumb fuck if you say yes, because there's two scenarios. You have shit on you, and if you say no, then maybe they'll violate your rights and they'll fucking force it and whatever, and you can have it thrown out. Or two, you don't have anything on you, and what do you care if then they keep pushing the issue? And because what I've heard is people say is like, no, that looks suspicious. The cops are not there for you. Like, they don't give a fuck about you. They're not searching your car for your safety in case you just forgot about some illegal substance underneath the fucking seat, or you know what I mean, somebody that like used your car fucking dropped a fucking Xanax down in the side part or whatever. So I've heard of people that had a rental car before where they found like an Oxycontin underneath the seat. So like, imagine, you know, you're like in a rental car and you're like, yeah, I just got this fucking car. It's like, sure, search me. And then they're like, you're doing fucking 2 years in a federal pen in some random fucking state. So they never ask for you, you know, they're never asking like to benefit you. So you should just always say no. If you don't know that, you should always say no. And same with this. Like, this is not to benefit you. Like, this is not like you know, the thing in your car that automatically brakes if it detects like somebody slamming on their brakes in front of you, collision detection, or like lane departure assist or whatever. This isn't in that framework where it genuinely saves lives. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's better to have a system that can brake if, you know, your reflexes can't catch it or something like that. People have all different whatever things, but an AI fucking assistant in your car that's registering whether or not you've had 2 or 3 beers, you know, it's like, if he has 2 beers and we can determine that, that's fine. But if you had 3 beers and we decide based on the fucking eye movement, well then, you know, your 21-year-old daughter is left in a parking lot in fucking downtown LA after the nightclub's closed and all of her friends have left. And you tell me what you think about that. You know, if you think that that's going to make you safer. Like, what are we in the UK? What is this fucking this fascist fucking, you know, this is better for you, mate. Like, you know, everybody has a pint or two every now and again, and you know, if you did have 1 or 2 points, like, you know, maybe you should just be stranded in the middle of fucking nowhere, you know, with no cell phone service, and maybe have wolves just eat you to death, you know, like, no, this is America. All right, when I want to fucking drive when I'm tired, I'm like a little sleepy, and like I can determine that I'm not going to pass the fuck out. Like, I stayed at my friend's house smoking dabs all night. And then when I'm sober, I decide to drive after a nap or something, and it's just like, guess what? Now you're stuck in fucking East LA. So enjoy that. Okay, for my next thing is the tech, and this is the last thing I have. So for the tech this week, and we're nice, we're on point for about an hour. So the tech for this week is, so I've seen these new VR rigs. So there's these new, like, we if you played video games ever, you dreamed about these days. You know, this is we're getting onto some almost like Ready Player One type shit, where you have like it was this guy, this nerd, and he's got this, he's like, people want to know what my rig is and what it costs. So he's got this like gyroscopic like moving platform that he hooks in so he can never like walk too far or fast off of it. He can like run on this thing because it's got like a little like wheeling thing. He's got haptic, like a haptic shirt that has like heating and cooling and like electro like stimuli that like triggers his muscles for when he's being shot or punched or kicked. And he has like a haptic vest that goes over it. That's the same thing. It's like boom, boom. You know, he can feel the hits and the gunshots. Which already it's, you know, mounting up for this dude to obviously be on a sick one. He's got his little VR headset. He's got his haptic gloves that have like full, you know, like 64 point like interconnectivity. He's got like some like haptic like fucking tools so he can use like swords and fake guns and stuff. And then it just shows him just like running on this rig and fucking like samurai sorting motherfuckers and shit. And like literally like hanging kind of on this thing. And I'm like, dude, like this is so the future of tech for these is, I would assume, I mean, obviously, like, VR porn is coming. You know what I mean? Like, VR porn already exists. Porn is a huge demo. So VR porn is coming, and it's definitely going to be trying to like utilize these like touch points. You know, like pretty soon you're going to be able to buy like haptic boxers with like vibrating inserts and like fucking, you know, warming and cooling and probably like electric stimuli too. So you can be like, oh, like damn, she like gave me a little bite or something like that. And so as like the porn and like, you know, happening where you're like these tits feel so real. Like it's like Mia Khalifa's ass is really in my face. Like like on these rigs and stuff. And autoerotic asphyxiation is a thing. So, you know, that's where people are utilizing like a belt of some sort to like constrict the airflow while they're jacking off. And I actually recently learned, I mean, I guess it makes sense when you think about it, but that there's a huge percentage of teen deaths that are erotic asphyxiation that are reported as suicides, because the parents come home and they find their kid in the act, like fucking strung up, you know, terribly so, dead, and, you know, come in hand, or, you know what I mean, like dick in hand, certainly, like, and maybe the rigor mortis is set in, so you know, they're erect, and, you know, they got splooge all over the floor, and you have parents like, oh my god, like, Charlie, no, and you know, mom slips in the splooge, and dad's just like, oh my god, like, just stop it, and so when, you know, they pull the body down, and, you know, they take his hand off of his you know, probably still erect rigor mortis dick, and, you know, clean up the splooge, and then they just say he killed himself. And so I learned, yeah, that this is a new thing, that there's a lot more, I guess, of these teen suicide deaths that actually are something like this. And I think that this system is just ripe for abuse of this. I mean, can you imagine, you just like, I got the rig set up, so like I'm perfectly, it's like as long as I just keep walking backwards, you know, it's like or like, you know, there's like the little bit is like I'm rigged in, so it's fine, you know, it's like the little bit more that I fucking, you know, get, and then they're beating it, and they're getting so in the zone, I assume, you know, with the Tesla suck bot, like fucking sucking them off in the VR, or probably just sucking them off in person while they have the VR, like baddies, just rubbing them up and down, and probably prone, you know, it's like one misstep, you know, so you're just like, oh shit, and you take the slip, and it's like, and then you're just fucking hanging up there, like, simulation end, or maybe not, you know, just like, this is the best one. And we're gonna have these kids dying on these rigs, like as these things get more advanced, and there's just different ways. And then just imagine that, you know, like you come and you find just like your kid in his like VR thing, fucking just porn blaring. When you're like, damn, like I didn't know he liked like such crazy like shit. And so the porn just blaring, the fucking things, like, because he had things that's what it was too. He had these things, these servo things that literally helped him walk. Like they made it so like the running. He was like, literally, I'm not doing this, and it's showing the servo thing on his knee, literally making his knees do like an auto run on the fucking the little treadmill thing. So like you're gonna have these kids with their servo systems doing like an auto kind of sprint for them while they're hung up. You know, this is going to be the worst scene that you could ever imagine for this scenario, but it does paint a kind of funny picture. So you know, that's what we have for the tech this week, and that's the end of Right Brain Forest episode 13, or I'm gonna say also maybe 14 or maybe 15, whichever one it is, you'll hear in the final edit. Have a good day.
They listen to our songs instead, since your media is full of shit. Let's keep it 100 and talk reality. 5,000 years of Persian soul, of poetry and light. You sold nuclear threat to every camera in sight, but our leader said nukes are haram on record clear. The real atomic arsenal, Tel Aviv, my dear. The IAEA in the building, they've been watching the file. Israel's undeclared warhead stacked up mile by mile. You weaponized the fear of Iran to fund the machine, while AIPAC lobbied Congress and pocketed your team. While soldiers bleed for Bibi's dream. Your son-in-law cashed $2 billion from the Saudi regime, Kushner. Your lobby chain is tight as choking out the globe, while your son is trading stocks inside his velvet robe. Baron. Wake up, America, open your eyes to the day. sacrificing for Israel's line. Wake up, America. Open your eyes to the devil's design. The world's watching your move. Don't feed the swine. Epstein's Island, 40 plus flights on the log. You the main character, Jeffrey was just a prologue. You act like a savior, but you're leaving bodies cold. How many nations have you broken? How many lies have you sold? Vietnam, Japan, Korea, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Panama, Syria, Germany, Serbia, Indonesia, Cuba, Sudan, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen. We're bringing you freedom, bro. They never asked for that. Retribution is coming with a storm you can't tame. Iran doesn't forget, and we're coming for the game. Spoiler alert. Israel's final war? It's against y'all. Take it seriously. Before it's too late. They're just using you for now. Wanna see the real truth? Watch how they talk on Jesus. Don't say I didn't warn you. Wake up.